Tim, man, finally here. UFC 298. Where does this rank amongst, kind of the greatest UFC featherweight title fights in history?
Yeah, it's in history. It's tough to really assess because I think this feels really good because we've been in such a drought for quality UFC fights. We haven't had a title match in a while. We haven't had meaningful fights. So right now, this feels like a 10 out of 10. I cannot wait for this. Historically speaking, I actually think this is pretty good for featherweight, right? Go ahead. What do you think?
Definitely, man. Definitely. I think this is probably the biggest featherweight title fight without any animosity, because there isn't really any animosity. It's just competitive spirit. But yeah, Topuria, he is painting a very convincing picture on his side with just purely with words that he's going to be the champion, man. He's super confident. He's got his promotion company that's just releasing these big budget promotions of him, holding the belt, and he's already changed his Instagram bio. Like, just the confidence alone, yeah, is almost Conor McGregor-esque, man. We haven't seen this in a very, very long time. What's your thoughts on the confidence? Do you think it's kind of a little bit ill-advised? Is that something you like?
He's unbeaten in general MMA. He's unbeaten in the UFC, and that's super impressive. But I think he's a man of conviction, and I get that feeling every time you hear him in interviews, every time you see like the videos that he's been making. He's very much a man of conviction, and I love that in the fight game. But like we've seen it with some fighters in the past, like Alexander Hernandez, like come in with massive conviction, come in with massive confidence, get spanked literally, and then he's never the same after mentally. So it's a matter of like, if I was unbeaten in MMA in the featherweight division, knocking guys out, I'd probably feel pretty confident. But if you lose, can you come back mentally? Now, can he win this fight is such a great question. Is it the timing of age? There's a lot of factors in this fight, but Ilia is live in this fight, right?
Oh, 100%. I think in fact, it's almost like before this fight, if Volkanovski hadn't taken that Islam fight, it probably wouldn't have been as big. So, he's taken the Islam fight. He got knocked out. It's like, oh, damn, is Volk going to be the same after that fight? Yeah. And then you've got Ilia Topuria, who's, on the other end, looked exceptional against someone like Josh Emmett. He did a great work. It just makes an exciting fight, just generally speaking, man.
Can't wait.
But yeah, yeah, exactly. But we'll go straight into kind of a little bit of a breakdown in this sense. Ilia Topuria. So I don't want to give away too much of who I think is going to win, kind of initially. But Ilia Topuria, very, very kind of boxing heavy style. There is actually an interesting statistic as well, Tim. He hasn't actually landed any head kicks or body kicks in his MMA career. How crazy is that?
Yeah. Insane.
That's crazy. So it's basically like the way he sets up his attack is he'll throw, and I thought this is really good. He'll throw this pawing left jab at the body, and it's just there to kind of either disrupt the rhythm of his opponent or to essentially kind of just throw them off, maybe take the air away from them in the later rounds as well. But he uses that to set up a beautiful left uppercut, a left hook, right hook. He doesn't really bite. He uses feints every now and again, but it's just that left kind of jab to the body and the left car kicks. It sets up everything, man. Other than that, not really tricky, man. I wouldn't say he's exceptionally tricky. He's really good at head movement, and he showed that against Josh Emmett. But yeah, when you've seen one round of it, it's kind of like you've seen five. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I completely agree with you on this, that he is really impressive at meat and potatoes boxing, and I wish more fighters kind of fought like him. So that jab entry, and then he's doing intelligent things, like he's going first and third, like Dominic Cruz had always talked about. So he's throwing the jab, waiting to see the response, and then counters with whatever he feels. And that's that head movement coming in and out. He really does vary the striking, kind of throwing different combinations every once in a while. But I love that going first and third, he angles out on, he enters and exits on different angles and really angling out well that way. And that stuff works really well against a very brawl heavy Josh Emmett, and working against other very tactical strikers. Like he did get hit by, like, even Bryce Mitchell hit him a couple of times. Who else did I see hitting him? Like, and even Josh Emmett actually slapped him quite a few times. And like, so I think it's the reinvention over time of like, this works really well in the first round, but can I adjust going forward by doing different things? Because if you were wanting to teach someone boxing for MMA, I would actually use Ilia Topuria as a tremendous example. Do what this guy is
Oh man,
doing, but you need to have the IQ over 5 rounds. You know what I'm getting at here?
definitely, definitely, and I think
Yeah.
he does as well. Like his cardio is very measured. We saw the other week with Joe Pyfer. Guy kind of gassed out because he didn't really have very good game planning in terms of his cardio output. But
Mhm.
Ilya, he's shown that, man. He's shown that in a 5 round fight that he can do the cardio for 5 rounds. The
Yeah.
one thing that I've got as a big tendency he does, yeah, and I really
Yeah.
feel like Volk here has probably seen this already, and he's like, maybe I can try and utilize this. So when he throws the jab, he leaves his head quite low, and that just honestly, that like Volk's a short guy, but he leaves it low enough here for Volk to throw a front kick up the middle or even a knee. So, and they both do that, in fact. But again, I'll go into Volk later. I'd say that's probably Ilya's biggest weakness, and also another weakness that he does when he goes into an exchange and he goes to a close quarters kind of brawl. He kind of
Yeah.
loses balance sometimes, and then he loses placement of his feet completely. And that's
Yeah.
why I think is another key to victory if someone was to take advantage of that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he
What
definitely.
do you think, Tim?
Yeah. It's a matter of like mentally. So I wanted to cover his grappling a bit, but in grappling, as we saw
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the Bryce Mitchell fight, he tries so hard and gives 100% effort. Like the way he just like threw Bryce Mitchell, and he's all mad and
yeah,
he's trying to punch,
man.
but he's 100% effort. Which when he throws his right hand, 100% effort, he's overthrowing and losing his balance, right? And Bryce Mitchell was hitting him. Bryce Mitchell
Yeah,
of all people was hitting him, but of course, if those right hands landed, it
bro.
would have been lights out. But man, the guy just gets so into it and throws 100% power. But yeah, he does knock himself off balance, right?
Yeah, he's basically just Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje basically just does similar to that
Yeah, he does.
sometimes. When Justin Gaethje before he became Trevor Whitman, protege, all that kind of stuff, he was
Mhm.
just winging punches, man. He was really trying to he was really trying to put your lights out, man, in one shot. And I think Topuria does that every now and again, but I think that's also because of the fact that he's had so much success knocking people out. And he sees a kill shot, he's going to try and take that. I think he needs to be a bit more careful against the master, against someone like Volkanovski. But yeah, what's your thoughts in terms of where you think Volkanovski is going to shine in terms of his striking, Tim?
Man, watching tape study for this fight, I was so surprised and reminded of what we used to feel about Volkanovski because there was something changed between the Chad Mendes Jose Aldo fight, where he was
Yeah,
like a brawler, a grinding
bro.
clinch fighter who just wanted to brawl, to a tactical
Yeah,
striker overnight. And like he was mixing in
yeah,
things like lead leg kick and calf kicks, which really screw up a puncher. And that became the basis of his game. But I remember thinking when he was fighting Holloway the first time, I was like, man, this brawler's not going to beat Max Holloway. You remember this?
yeah, man. It was crazy. Like his evolution is just utterly insane. Because before the Chad Mendes fight, I was like, this guy's just a wrestler with an overhand right, man. Like,
Yep.
he's not gonna do anything out of the ordinary. And in fact, Chad Mendes, it was a kind of a back and forth brawl. It was a
It
brawl.
was. It was a brawl.
Volkanovski. I think Volkanovski at the early days, he was more than happy to do that, to get his name out there, to try and get the quick finishes, to get into that title shot. And now he's at the big leagues. Probably he's making millions per fight. He wants to kind of not play it safe, but he wants to kind of make sure that it's defensive as well, which is extremely important. But yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
like Volkanovski, man, like I personally think he's a better striker. I think his jab is a little more cleaner. I feel like he throws kicks up the middle, he throws body kicks. He's got a really nice left body kick as well.
Mhm.
Nice hook. And yeah, I think he does the striking a little bit better. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, because he mixes striking so much more. Everything like the inside leg kick, he was bruising Jose Aldo of all people. The calf kick was really screwing up people like Aldo and Holloway, which is just super impressive. Because if you're going to fight a heavy puncher, they're going to be heavy on the lead leg, but he's kicking out the lead
Yeah.
leg. And I think we're going to see a lot of that kind of in this fight. But yeah, mixes calf kicks, combo punching, inside leg kicks, varies his punching, solid jab despite being the shorter fighter. And I liked his pull counter. Despite being the shorter fighter, he's still doing pull counters in there. in this fight, I think pull counters might actually screw him up because you got a guy who's overthrowing. He's going to follow you as you're leaning back. And I think Ilia could actually have some success following him, because one thing, like you remarked with Volkanovski, he doesn't mind getting hit. Like on the feet, Islam Makhachev hit him. Max Holloway hit him. Aldo beat him. Chad Mendes hit him. Like he doesn't mind. Oh, and even Yair Rodriguez slapped him a couple of times. Like there was a moment in that second round where it looked like a different fight. He doesn't mind getting hit. But what I do, this is the thing with when you do tape study on him, you just come away with, this guy's so impressive because he adjusts over time. You hit him once, he'll adjust. He'll figure out what you did and you won't be able to do it again, right?
100%. And when you think about, and like I just said before, Ilia does the same thing, man, for 5 rounds. You can't really do that. Ilia's very good at pressing people against the cage. You know, he's very good at octagon control and kind of pushing them, leading the dance, being the matador. But Volkanovski is brilliant at kind of disengaging and just getting back into the middle always. So it's like any kind of conclusion I come from this, it's just not looking good, man. In terms of the stand-up only, that is.
Well, I wanted to pick Topuria. I wanted to be the cool guy to pick Topuria. Went back and watched tape study, and I just think Volkanovski has more tools because not only the kicks and the punching, if he's struggling, he will transition to takedowns really well, right?
Exactly. And you know, even with Topuria, as we've seen Bryce Mitchell take him down, and that was just off the back of him being out of position. He threw such a wild right hook that he lost. You know, he lost the placement of his feet completely. And it's almost like he lost the original game plan, which is jab the body, keep the body stance low, because I'm short, and sprawl quickly. He completely forgot that because he hurt Bryce a little bit. And if he does that in the second round and he hurts Volk and Volk capitalizes on that, I think that'll be the end of the night for Topuria. So just got to be careful with that, man. But yeah, wrestling wise, I give Volkanovski the edge. I think Volkanovski's the bigger, stronger, powerful man as well. You know, he's 35 years old. He's had a few years in the division as well. So I think he's going to be physicality wise, wrestling's better. I actually give Topuria the edge on grappling because he's got more submissions. He's had submissions within the UFC. Submitted fucking Bryce Mitchell, which is crazy. And I'd give Volkanovski probably, you know, the grappling disadvantage. Other than that, Volk beats him everywhere, man. Beats him everywhere.
Yeah, the thing is, because the thing is with Ilia.
What's your final prediction?
Oh yeah, well, I was just gonna say on the grappling front there, but like Ilia Topuria, he does grapple really well, especially off of his back. Like he made Bryce Mitchell move back into position and forced him back into guard, and that was really good. And he the way that he reversed a lot of those takedowns was really good. The thing is, the difference, of course, like you were kind of alluding to, Alexander Volkanovski is just going to hang out in top and land ground and pound and not try to advance position. But yeah, I think overall wrestling and stuff really goes the way of Volkanovski. But let me ask you, before we give the final prediction here, what about the X factor? What about age? What about coming off of a knockout loss? How do you factor that into the Volkanovski kind of outlook? What do you think?
I think that's not going to really take too much into consideration. Volk was concussed, but at the same time, it was not like he was badly hurt, or you know, he was stretched out of the octagon or anything like that. And also the age thing, I think it's such a silly narrative. Firstly, you know, fuck you guys for calling Volk old. I'm the same age. And secondly, he's actually middle of the division. In the whole of the division, he comes across as completely like middle. So there's Calvin Cater that's older and Giga Kadzi that's older. I think there's a couple of people that's also older. So he's not that old, man. Like, I don't know. This narrative is just silly. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be an X factor at all. And I've got Volkanovski by dominant decision as well.
Well, fuck you all for saying that he's old and short, because we're all the same. We're all the same height and age as Volkanovski. And every time they say, man. But yeah, final prediction. I agree with you, Volkanovski. I'm going to pick late round stoppage, maybe a TKO in the 5th round. But that is, of course, without really. If they're both in their primes, that's what I see. I think he outstrikes him, outgrapples, outwrestles him. But then I don't know. I can see Topuria winning. It's just the least likely option of the two. But yeah, should we move on to the rest of the card, sir?
Oh yeah, 100%, man, 100%. So UFC 298, man. I think the co-main event is Henry Cejudo
Yeah.
versus Merab Dvalishvili, man. What do you think of this matchup, man? It's a fucking banging matchup, isn't it?
Speaking of the age factor, where is Henry Cejudo out in his career? What, he's had like 4 fights in 4 years. I don't know where he's at coming in, but I really do want to pick Dvalishvili in this one, you know?
It's crazy, man. I think there's no other base in MMA to age you faster than MMA. Like, it just does not. It just faces it. It just honestly, completely,
Yeah.
complete. I actually haven't got Merab. You know, I've got Henry. I'm gonna. I think Henry's a better striker. And wrestling, we all know who's gonna be better, man. So I've got Henry all day. He's got more experience of 5-round fights.
Yeah.
What do you do? The winner is fighting the contender, but knowing this division, they probably have to wait another year. No.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's going to sit around for quite a while before they really line that up. But I can see Cejudo winning. If he is at 100%, he wins. No question about that. I just don't entirely know where he is at
Yeah.
physically. Like, he has had a long career going back to, I don't know if anyone ever talks about this, but he was the youngest American wrestler to medal in wrestling in the Olympics. No one ever mentions this, but but like, so he's had a long career of like putting miles on his body. Nobody cares. But yeah, I don't know. I just want to pick Dvalishvili. I think it's just his time right now. Momentum is a real thing in sports. But yeah, overall, Cejudo's a better fighter, but I think it's Dvalishvili's time, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's a fair take. Yeah, I mean I'm kind of co-signing with that, but yeah, moving to the next one. This is a really exciting one and probably the second biggest fight of the whole evening. Robert
Yeah.
Whittaker versus Paulo Costa, man. What a banging of a fight! I've heard recently that Robert Whittaker is fired up, man. He's motivated. He's saying this is the best version of him that's gonna come out. He's hungry for the title again. Yeah, what do you think, man?
All I want is some weird ass moment with Paulo Costa, because remember when he saluted Yoel Romero and then started throwing haymakers? Remember when Luke Rockhold rubbed blood in his face? I just want more of that weird stuff with Paulo Costa. But yeah, Robert Whittaker should win. And I know the age factor is really a theme of the show. And even an old Robert Whittaker should be able to win, right?
Definitely, man. Definitely. How old is Robert Whittaker? He can't be that old, surely.
No, he's not old. It's the matter of the 10 rounds with
Oh,
Yoel
damn, he's
Romero.
33, man. He's getting up there.
Man, but the thing is, I think it's the 10 rounds with Yoel
Yeah.
Romero that really changed his life, you know?
Oh, 100%. Even getting knocked out by Izzy, man, like out unconscious.
It's a
And
few
who can
miles
forget that?
there.
Yeah, who can forget that war with Romero? Like,
Yeah.
the
Awesome fights.
war.
Best fights in middleweight title history, just back and
100%.
forth. Yeah, taking
100%.
years
Hey, do
off
you
each
remember when
other's life.
Here's interesting. Do you remember when Paulo Costa reposted your article on Wine?
Man, I think about it every day. And it was a good article too, back when I used to really try hard. But man, yeah, because I found in a
So random.
video what red wine he liked to drink, and then I wrote an article about the red wine that he liked to drink, and then he reposted it. And I messaged him every once in a while to be like, "Do you want to start a red wine podcast and we could review wines?" But he never got back to me on this.
He blew up a bit too much over the last 2-3 years, Tim.
He's too big for us now. He doesn't want to be on Catholic Sports Wines Network.
Exactly. He's like, who the fuck are these guys, man? But yeah, moving on. Geoff Neal versus Ian Machado. You looking forward to the press conference, or you looking forward to the fight?
Man, there's so many like people I don't like listening to in MMA, and like, you know, Jorge Masvidal. There's a Colby Covington. Ian is kind of in that range, but he is a talented fighter. But what do you think?
Yeah.
What do you see?
I
in this?
don't mind Ian, man. I think
No.
he's just. I think people just rip him too much, man. Like, he's not that. Like, he made a couple of mistakes, kind of going after Neil Magny, made him look bad, but I think people should lay off. But yeah, as a fighter, I think he's fantastic, man. The Neil Magny fight, throwing the shit out of those calf kicks and damaging Neil. And yeah, he's an excellent striker. I actually think he's going to win this fight. I think he'll outstrike him. And yeah, I think Geoff Neal was a little bit more of a bit too much of a brawler to kind of come away with the W. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Kind of a stacked card, just generally speaking, man. UFC 298, like it's looking good, isn't it, man?
Man, after middleweights in the apex, looking at this card is just a dream, man. It's like an abusive relationship where they're like, here's another middleweight, here's another middleweight. And then you get this and you're like, oh, you've always loved me. You've always been nice to me.
Yeah. I know. And then we've got like UFC 299. And
dude, it's so good.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait for the breakdown of that. That's gonna be such a banger. Like, I think top to bottom, probably one of the biggest ones of the year, man. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you again for tuning in, as always. Make sure you subscribe, all that good stuff. But yeah, Tim, anything else you would like to plug? In fact, you've got some exciting news.
Yeah, so next week I am in Saudi Arabia with the PFL, and that's going to be awesome. And like, it doesn't take much to really like make me a happy guy. They were like, yeah, we actually organized a ride from the airport to the hotel, and I was like, oh man, you guys love me so much. This is the best career I've ever had in my life. It's just a car, but yeah, I'm really excited for that. So we're in the desert next week. We should have some scrums, some one-on-one interviews, stuff like that. And we also got calfkicksports.com is right there. It's ready to go. So we're going to put it together in the next little while for you folks. Patreon down the line. But yeah, calfkicksports.com is happening. We're doing it. Social media to website, millionaires.
100%, man. You'll see. A few years down the line, going to be the biggest in the game, man. Fuck Ariel Helwani.
But here's the thing.
I'm kidding. We love you.
Ariel's the best. But here's the thing of like, you can compare our interview numbers to websites, and we're on par with them already. Like, this is really exciting time for us, but I feel like we can compete in this space.
Definitely, 100%, man. Not even a question about it anymore. But yeah, stay tuned. We'll probably do a post-fight IG live Monday, most likely. But yeah, stay tuned and speak soon, guys.
Cheers. Thanks so much.